Statline scouting. I had some really good reception on this, both from, just people watching in the comments as well as even a couple people, in the industry and scouting on this. So this is Statline scouting. What we're doing is we're looking at the minor leagues with a little bit of help from the Fangraphs minor league leaderboards. There'll be a link to that in the description. But basically, we're just looking at the minor leagues and we are just trying to scout based solely on Statline. We don't know what type of characters these players are. We don't know, how athletic they look or maybe even, how unathletic they look. This is just based purely off performance, and we're trying to unearth some prospects because you're probably familiar with the big names. You probably know who Adley Rutschman is, but we're trying to find the next big names in the prospect world as the minor league season unfolds. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better. I made the text a little bit bigger and myself a little bit smaller. But anyways, we're going to start off with a fun tidbit in the world of Statline scouting. The top 3 home run hitters in the minor leagues are Kansas City Royals. We've got MJ Melendez, who's a catching prospect, Nick Pratto, who I think is like a first baseman, and then Bobby Witt Jr., who you probably already know. But those guys, they lead the minors in home runs, which is interesting because I feel like a couple years ago, like maybe 2019, they were doing this, but with the stolen base category, but now it's home runs. So the Royals are hitting for power, and Pipeline just recently updated their top prospect lists and their team lists, and you can see that Witt, Pratto, and Melendez are 3 of the top 4 alongside Asa Lacy, the pitcher. So those guys, definitely keep an eye on them. You probably know who Bobby Witt Jr. is at this point, but just the others, especially Melendez has been having a crazy season, and he's a catcher. He's a catcher who legitimately rakes. Another guy that's just been raking in the upper minors all year is Jose Miranda. I should have definitely talked about him in the last episode of Statline Scouting, but got a lot of comments on him. I'll say this about just Jose Miranda and a lot of these guys in general. The thing is, when you're 23 and you're putting up, a 163 WRC plus in AA, and then you go up and do 153 in AAA, I don't know much about this guy like specifically, but the fact of the matter is this: most players who do this well at the upper minors at this age go on to do well in the big leagues. They go on to produce, and I don't know if that means produce as a helpful role player or an all-star, but considering how bad things have gone for the Twins at the major league level, I would say just cling on to Jose Miranda. Put all your hopes in him. You know what I mean? Like, just get excited. At least enjoy that something exciting is happening in the upper minors, even if things didn't really work out in the majors. It's interesting to me that he is not a top 100 prospect on Pipeline, which just recently updated their list. I have some disagreements with that. We use Pipeline sort of as a secondary source in this series. I don't, always agree with what they do. I don't think they have the best rankings typically, but it's just good to always get a second opinion. I would hate to just do Fangraphs for this because, a lot of the fun of the prospect world is when there's disagreements, Now, as far as the pitching goes, I've gone ahead and just set an age filter right here. So we're looking at pitchers age 24 or younger. I would say the age thing is probably less important for pitchers than it is for hitters. Like, there can be guys that just figure it out when they're 27 someday, and then they go on to have a great major league career. That happens all the time, but we're just looking at some of the younger guys for now in the upper minors. And sorting by strikeout rate, you see some names you probably recognize. Hunter Green's a big one. He's come storming back from Tommy John surgery. He's retained a lot of that velocity that he was known for in the draft. He's having a fantastic year for Cincinnati. Tobias Myers is a name that I mentioned in passing. He does not have, his name does not have the same sort of name brand value as Hunter Green, but he is performing well. I want to highlight this time around Connor Pilkington of the Chicago White Sox, but I believe now actually of Cleveland. So he started as a White Sox round 3 draft pick in 2018. He was traded at the deadline in the trade that I believe brought Cesar Hernandez to Chicago. So he's now with Cleveland. And since moving to Cleveland, he's taken a good season and actually started to do even a little bit better. You can see his ratios and strikeouts and walks staying about the same, but the home run suppression has been there, getting a little bit luckier in terms of that home run fly ball rate definitely helping. But yeah, through his first 20 innings in AA, age 23 with Cleveland, he has a 1.8 ERA, but even then he was doing really well in Chicago before then. So, maybe it's just a name to keep an eye on. I'm looking at Cleveland's top 30 prospects here on Pipeline, and I didn't see him. Pilkington. Let's control F it. There's an article about him, but no, he's not listed on here. Let's just check Chicago just to make sure he wasn't left on there. Nope, don't see him. So, definitely a guy, worth knowing, even if he's not, a default top 30 prospect in every, single list yet for the Cleveland system. In fact, we can just give a quick update on the trade deadline in general. A couple of prospects we talked about last episode were traded. One of them was Hoy Park, who was tearing up AAA in the Yankees organization. He's now a Pittsburgh Pirate, so he was traded at the trade deadline in exchange for Clay Holmes. So Hoy Park is a Pirate. He's actually got a run of playing time with the Pirates, and I think that was probably a good thing for him because it didn't seem like he was ever really going to break through to the Major League roster in New York. But he has got some playing time in Pittsburgh. Hasn't worked out too well for him. I believe he's back in AAA right now, but it's always good to get some Major League experience, so good for him. And then another one I'll point out that was also traded would be Jack Suwinski. So Jack Suwinski is also a Pittsburgh Pirate right now. When we talked about him, he was a Padre. He was a 2016 15th round pick, which has kind of come out of nowhere, performed really, really well this year. San Diego chose to kind of sell high on him, and they traded him for Adam Frazier, which I guess was also a sell high for the Pirates in a way. So, so anyways, Adam Frazier deal brings Jack Suwinski to Pittsburgh, and that's just sort of your update on a couple of guys we talked about that were moved at the trade deadline. They are both Pittsburgh Pirates. Now let's learn some new names, and a pitcher that's just really heating up in the second half of the season, since we had our last Statline scouting episode, is Randy Vasquez. Randy Vasquez, he's almost 23. He's a couple months shy of 23, and so he's not, relative to his competition, he's not like super young, but he's just been tearing it up in the minors. You can see this year in A-ball, he pitched 50 innings with a 2.34 ERA, 3.56 FIP. That's really good. But then the Yankees were like, okay, let's move this guy up to high A. And in high A, he started 6 games. He had a 13.25 K per nine, 2 walks per nine, didn't allow a home run, a 1.75 ERA in high A, and a 1.51 FIP. And you look at this guy's ground ball rates too, like 52% in single A and then 65.9% in high A. So he's like a ground ball guy too, but he also gets like a ton of strikeouts. He just really seems to be a pitcher that the ratios, he can just keep up the ratios. He just pitches to FIP really well. He's always seems like he's going to be in control of the strikeouts, the walks, and the home runs. That's how he's pitched this year, and that's really been his strength. Tonight, he's actually debuted in Double-A, so you could definitely check out his first game in Double-A. That'll be done by the time this video comes out. So yeah, Randy Vasquez really moving up in the world of prospectum, both in terms of how he's moving up the ladder of the minor league system itself, but also I think just in terms of his performance overall, and he's definitely a name worth knowing. The Yankees, of course, traded away Contreras, we'll remember, for Jameson Taillon. That's another pitcher who's really emerged at similar levels, albeit at an even younger age. Right now, we're looking at players who have played mostly at A and high A this year, and Felix Valerio is a name that's starting to stand out to me. He's an interesting character, it looks like, just based on what I can see on this Fangraphs page. He's a second base prospect, 5'7", 165 pounds, and not fast, 40 speed. And, the fielding grades they have on him, at least right now, not great. It's a 40 as well, so it's below average speed, below average fielding at the second base position. But he just kind of hits, so it's at A here. To start the year, played 85 games, 314 batting average, 430 on base, and he was walking more than he was striking out. And then what's interesting is he moves up to high A, right? And all of a sudden, the power's starting to come out. He has 4 home runs through his first 11 games in high A, so an interesting character. I'm curious to see where Pipeline might have him ranked. And it appears that Mr. Felix Valerio is not in Pipeline's top 30 for the Brewers organization. I think what makes Felix Valerio kind of compelling is that I think he's a good indicator of what we want to do with this series, right? So I'm imagining he does not look like an insane athlete. He's small, he's not fast, but he's performing. And so for a Statline scouting perspective, this is the type of player we want to highlight. It's a player who, may not be the toolsiest, but he gets in the minor leagues and he puts up numbers, and he's only 20. So, you know, that maybe a name to keep in mind, maybe a name that the prospect heads could overlook. They could overlook his performance because they don't like some of the other things in his profile. We're getting down to rookie ball here, which I'm excited about. Rookie ball had not kicked off yet during the first episode of Statline Scouting, so this is our first visit to rookie ball, and it deserves a preface. Rookie ball is nuts. Rookie ball is anarchy. The stats are absolute anarchy. They're all over the place. Pitchers can't throw strikes. Batters have no discipline. But the ones that do have any sort of skill, you know, can put up like video game numbers. These are like 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds playing against each other. It's a mess. And statistical greatness or even struggles at rookie ball, you know, it's hard to say that indicates, you know, success for, say, like a major league career or something like that. So it deserves that preface. We are going to look at the rookie ball stats, absolutely, but it deserves that preface. You know, killing the game in rookie ball when you're 17 is not the same thing as doing great in AAA when you're 21. You've got a long way to go. All right, now that we have that out of the way, let's look at some names. Here's a name for you. Edgar Quero. We're looking here at rookie ball names in the domestic league. So these are guys who've been playing in Edgar's case, Arizona, but sometimes also Florida. Edgar Quero started the year in the Arizona Complex League. He is a catching prospect with the Angels, and I just looked him up. Looks like he's signed for $200,000. So just to kind of give you an idea, you know, your top tier international amateurs are usually going to sign, you know, 2, 3, 4 million range, but he's a 200K guy. And Edgar Quero, what has he done since he made his pro debut? Well, he's got a 945 OPS, you know, kind of a 3 true outcome approach at rookie ball. And what's really impressive is that he has escaped rookie ball. And that is something to applaud. He has escaped rookie ball. Well done, Edgar. Been promoted to A ball, where I imagine he will finish out the season. But yeah, this is, you know, I mean, this is like your first glimpse at so many of these names here. But yeah, Edgar Quero is a guy we're going to be highlighting, a catcher prospect for the Los Angeles Angels. Way to go, Edgar. Way to get out of rookie ball. Yeah, hopefully your stats make sense. Here's a name you probably do know. Blaze Jordan. He has gone viral, you know, basically since he's like a kid. You know, he's known as this kid who hits bombs. He hits home runs, and he was drafted in 2020, round 3 by the Boston Red Sox. And you know what he's done? He's hit bombs. He's hit bombs. He's made his pro debut this year, finally in 2021. You know, he missed out on that because of COVID in 2020. But he makes his pro debut at age 18, and he has hit 6 home runs in 25 games. And that has earned him a promotion from rookie ball in Florida to low A Salem. So, you know, again, escaping rookie ball hell, always a good sign. Congrats to you, Blaze Jordan. But yeah, definitely a name you probably know, but maybe that you didn't know was playing minor league baseball right now and actually doing pretty well. Right, what we're going to do here is we're going to flip to Dominican rookie ball. So these are players not playing in Florida or Arizona. These are players typically making their pro debut in the Dominican Republic. And I'm going to highlight Gabriel Gonzalez here, who signed with the Seattle Mariners last January. You got to keep in mind, this is a 17-year-old. We're talking about a 17-year-old here. Like, he's a baby, you know. But putting up good numbers. He's slashing 311, 395, 573. What I like to see is not just, you know, a good OPS or whatever, but how are my ratios and strikeouts and walks? Okay, they're looking pretty good. Am I hitting for power? Yes, I have 4 home runs in 30 games. That's pretty good when you're 17. It's hard to hit the ball over the fence when you're 17. And he has 8 stolen bases, so good job, Gabriel Gonzalez. That is hopefully the youngest prospect we're going to highlight here. But he is ranked 17th on Pipeline for the Mariners. And yes, having a good start to rookie ball. But as you can see, his ETA, according to Pipeline, 2025. So got a ways to go, Gabriel. But hey, it's a good pro debut. Good for you. Actually, it looks like Joel Diaz is going to be a little bit younger than the Mariners guy. And you can just kind of do this with rookie ball. But it's just going to be fun to point out, hey, Joel Diaz, he has 27 innings in rookie ball. He has not allowed an earned run. He has 40 strikeouts and 4 walks. Do I know anything about this person? No, I just know they're tearing it up in rookie ball, and they're 17. Is Joel Diaz, is he on a top 30 list? Do people, you know, Joel Diaz? I mean, it kind of feels like when you reach this point, you're just making up players. Nope, nothing really out there on Joel Diaz in terms of pipeline, but yeah, he's having an amazing debut. 27 innings, 0 earned runs, 40 strikeouts, 4 walks. That's nice. And then finally, we don't normally talk about the huge prospects, but when you have someone making their pro debut, it's definitely worth, pointing out. Jasson Dominguez, such a huge international prospect, always causing waves, the Martian. And he has made his pro debut, in fact, with the New York Yankees. As you can see, he started here in rookie ball. He played 7 games here, and then they moved him up to A-ball, so he's played 30 games there now. His numbers at A-ball aren't amazing, but they are adding up to a 97 WRC plus, which is, means he's about a league average hitter there. And to be a league average hitter in A-ball when you're, 18 years and 6 months old, that's solid. It's not. What I'm not going to be doing is really adjusting my expectations on Jasson Dominguez too much based off of these numbers. I'm not going to, set the hype up to like a billion. He's the next Wander Franco, who's the next, Vladimir Guerrero, who's the next Ronald Acuna or whatever. But, it's a solid debut. It's just unspectacular, I would say. Now to finish out here, I just wanted to kind of go through and see if there's anyone I missed. And what I did is I went through the Fangraphs minor league leaderboards, and I just tried to build myself a good baseball player. I just kind of tried to reverse engineer a good prospect. And what did I look for? I looked for someone who walks, someone with a 12% or higher walk rate, someone with a good ratio in terms of walks to strikeouts, someone with some pop, someone with an ISO over 200 and who has hit at least 5 home runs this year, but also has stolen at least 5 bases this year, because there's a pretty good correlation, actually, between minor league stolen bases and major league just speed and athleticism. There's not much of a correlation between minor league stolen bases and major league stolen bases. You may be surprised. There's plenty of guys who steal a ton in the minors, get up to the majors, don't really do it for strategic reasons, but we still like guys who are fast and athletic. So when I tried to reverse engineer this good player, I got a lot of Yankees. I got Anthony Volpe, who's obviously, had a huge season, maybe as big of a season as anybody in the minors this year. Marcos Cabrera and Anthony Garcia, these are rookie ball guys, but they're a bit old for it, like they're 19 and 20, whereas Volpe's doing it at a higher level. George Valera, who's a pretty well-known prospect. I think he's going to be like a top 100 prospect going forward. I don't know if he's on everyone's top 100 list right now. You can see Fangraphs, he's 98. I believe he is top 100 on Pipeline as well. Hoyt Park, former Yankee. But who will I choose to highlight? I will choose to highlight Mr. Coby Mayo. Coby Mayo, a 2024 round pick for the Baltimore Orioles. I'm curious to see where Pipeline ranks him, but first, let's look at his numbers. Coby Mayo, as you can see, has made his pro debut in rookie ball and just generally did well. He stole, 6 bases. He just kind of hit all over. He played in 2 different leagues. It looks like he played 3 games, maybe in Dominican or something like that, and then came over to the United States. I don't know. But anyways, he's been promoted to A-ball, and he's played, just 9 games there, but the numbers there aren't too bad either. So Coby Mayo definitely performing in his, pro debut in the minors. And if I hadn't tried to reverse engineer a good baseball player, I wouldn't have found his name. So thanks. And maybe we can do something like that with a pitcher as well. But yeah, Coby Mayo, remember the name. It's going to be hard not to remember the name Coby Mayo. Let's be honest, it's a pretty memorable name. But Pipeline has him at 17th in the Baltimore Orioles system, and that's pretty good, especially considering, Baltimore Orioles system is definitely one of the better systems in baseball right now. Some would consider them to be the best system, I think. So there you go, Coby Mayo. I'm glad we were just able to sort of use the Fangraphs leaderboards to find him, because otherwise I would have missed him. And to wrap things up here, try to reverse engineer a good pitcher. Set some pretty lofty standards, a strikeout rate over 30%, a strikeout to walk rate over 4, and a ground ball percent, this is the big one, over 50%. I do love a ground ball pitcher. And we got 3 names spit out at us here. So Taj Bradley, I feel like he's pretty well known. He's, ranked 6th on Pipeline for the race system. He's one of those guys where if he's not like a top 100 prospect, he's probably like a top 200 prospect on your list. But a little bit more under the radar, Adam Seminaris and Brandon Walter. Adam Seminaris is a 22-year-old 5th rounder in 2020 for the Los Angeles Angels. I have clocked you, Adam. I have found you. You have some good statistical things happening in your profile. Same thing with Brandon Walter of the Red Sox, an older prospect, nearly 25. I mean, as someone who's 26, I can tell you, once you're 25, basically your life is over and you're never going to improve at anything. Kidding, of course, especially with pitchers. Pitchers can really turn it around fast. But Brandon Walter of the Red Sox, I have also clocked you. You cannot escape the foolish Bailey radar. You have been clocked. You have been Statline scouted, my good sir. And you know what? I like what I see. Even though you're older for the level you're playing at, I like what I see. So there you go. That was Statline scouting. Hope you enjoyed it. And I think we'll probably check in on this next time when the minor league season is over and maybe as fall league is going on. So there's Arizona Fall League. A lot of the top prospects are going to play in that. But yeah, hope you all are enjoying the series. Leave your feedback. And yeah, see you guys later.